Hello, hello. Welcome to the show, ET Phone Home. My name is James Rink. I am today's host here of this show. And today we have Jimmy Paine with us. Jimmy, how are you doing today? Go ahead and take your mute off. There you go.
Very fine, James.
Great. Thank you for joining us, Jimmy. And the audience, thank you for joining us as well. So, how's everybody doing in the audience? We have someone from Colorado here. We have Jesus Garcia. Where's the show? We're here. Someone forgot to reboot James. Okay. Yeah, we were running a little late, but it's all good. It's all good. It was totally worth it, right? I got my blue light on. I got all the artwork looking great. So, and we've got a great guest. So today Jimmy Paine is an MIB agent, and he will be sharing about his, Travis Walton's encounter with the aliens featured in the movie E.T., the Extra-Terrestrial, or simply E.T., a 1982 American science fiction film produced and directed by Steven Spielberg and written by Melissa Mathison, which is based off this MIB file. Jimmy claims, and this is going on more into his bio here, Jimmy claims to have served aboard Starship Enterprise, a Vulcan-built starship crafted in the 1960s. His experiences aboard the ship are said to inspire multiple films. As a super soldier, Jimmy Paine was known as Captain Dallas for his distinguished service within the secret space program, spanning from 1959 to 1996. Over these years, Dallas undertook numerous highly classified missions, serving as a shuttlecraft pilot for the Tall White Warriors at the legendary Area 51 facility, venturing into uncharted territories with the Montauk Boys at Camp Hero. And he also was on the Nostromo, Weyland Corporation's Nostromo, where he encountered a xenomorph on LV-426, which is a documentary in the original Aliens movie. Dallas' career took him across planets and moons, from Mars to Titan and Earth's own moon. On Mars in 1974, he and Duncan O'Finian came up with you encountered this broken statue of a colossal humanoid face, as well as you encounter these Tommyknockers, right? They're a muscular type of tall gray lurking in Martian caves. On Titan, Dallas served at an extensive underground base where he faced a creature ominously referred to as It, similar to the monster at Montauk, the Montauk monster, a fierce Bigfoot-like being that grew stronger with each attack. So he's also served at Vandenberg Air Force Base, including on the Apollo 20 mission with William Rutledge, and we've discussed this in other shows where he encountered EBE Mona Lisa, which was an Oriental featured humanoid, and which was brought back to Area 51. Welcome to the show, Jimmy. You want to add to that bio? Anything I might have missed?
No, you've been very thorough.
Okay. All right. So, Jimmy, tell us, did you actually get to meet one of these extraterrestrials found in the science fiction, right? Science fiction movie Extra-Terrestrial by Steven Spielberg.
Which one are you talking about, James?
Do you want me to name that particular species?
No, well, I've met so many ETs, James. Which one are you talking about tonight?
The one in the Extra-Terrestrial movie.
You mean ET Phone Home?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Asgoians is what they're called. By the way, I actually had to look that up. Okay, Jimmy. Where do we begin?
Yeah. Could you go full screen, James? That ET Phone Home is blaring my. It's kind of blared out there. Can we go full screen? Yeah, that's much better. I just didn't. It was a little loud there. Okay, well, I guess the best way to begin it is to go back about 3 years prior to the event. Uh, the more that you know about what I'm doing and my caseload, then you have a general idea uh, of the workload that I'm under. But at about 1972, I'm about probably about 16 years old. I'm walking down the street in Quantico, Virginia, and I heard somebody call out, "Hey, Dutch." I used to go by the name Dutch also. And I looked over my shoulder, and it was a woman that I knew. Her name was Sue Ford. And she ended up, she saw me walk down the street and she flagged me over. And I started talking to her. And she had some boxes that she needed to get moved. And I said, okay, So I went into a room, into the back room, and there was a step ladder. It was on the floor, and there were several folders that had fell out of a big box and it had littered up the floor. And I picked up the step ladder and I said, "Which box do you want?" And she said, she pointed towards one, uh, towards the top of the ceiling. The whole room was filled with these boxes, maybe 12 by 12 by 3 feet. And they were like folders. You put in a folder cabinet. And so I climbed up the ladder and I got the box and I got it down and I brought it uh, in the next room and I put it down by our computer. Now, what was unusual was in 1972, um, I didn't, you didn't really see computers, uh, particularly small ones back then. What she had was IBM. I want to say it was an IBM computer, 3600, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. And but it was in a very small, scaled down model. Most 3600s were real bulky. They took up a good part of the room. But this one was down into a kind of a modern computer, even though it was a cat array tube instead of a flat screen tube. And so I got to talking to her, and what had happened, I had an intelligence officer. He had to go for a briefing to learn how to operate a computer because they were going from doing the paperwork to going over to computers. And he was down the street at another building and ended up um, he was going to be down there for about 6 or 7 weeks, about 2 days out of the week, for about 6 or 7 weeks taking his class. So while I was talking to Sue, uh, the door opened and a man walked in, and Sue introduced me to him. That was her supervisor. Now, Sue Ford used to work for the State Department, and and her supervisor, he had a sling on his arm, and that's not her, James. Uh, and he ended up. What had happened? He had went into that room a little earlier, and he lost his footing, and he fell, and he landed on his arm, and he had went to the doctor, and they had X-rayed his arm, and he had cracked it. So when I got to talking to him and her, he said, he, he asked me, he said, what was I doing there? And I said, well, I had an officer that was taking a computer class down the street, and But anyway, it rode around. He said, "Look, um, we could use a little help around here, and I can't grab these folders, and I was wondering if you were free, could you grab them for Sue? Because I'm scared. Let Sue climb up on the ladder. She could hurt herself like me." And I said, "Well, sure. You know that I will be back at least 2 days out of the week, and I had about an hour to spend free time. And instead of me sitting down the street wait on my officer in a waiting room, I just hang out uh, at that location for about an hour. And then when I was through moving things, I'd go back down the street and get my officer." So this went on for like several weeks. I would go and I would show up for about an hour and climb the ladder, take these boxes and put them all in the front room. And but when I got through, right before we finished getting down to last these boxes, several weeks later, um, the he said, "Well, I'm going to get a truck, and we're going to put these files in this truck, and we're going to take it to the incinerator." And so I ended up getting close to 277 boxes was what I counted. And but when I got down to about getting kind of low, he ordered another truck uh, to that location, and I couldn't understand it because I had plenty of room to get all the boxes on one truck. But I had about 17 boxes left over, James. And he said, "Well, we're going to put 17 in one truck and put the other 200 and uh, 250, 260 in. And we're going to haul them to the dump. So, or to the incinerator." So the day came, when we were going to finish up. And Sue got into the first truck on the passenger side, and they drove off on the first truck. They got to the intersection, they stopped, and they went through the intersection. Well, the second truck that was behind them stopped, and instead of going through the intersection, following the first truck, it turned off to the right. And I thought, well, that was kind of odd, they both are going to go to the incinerator. Why did one go straight and one take a right? So anyway, a couple of weeks pass. I'm back at my home, and the phone rang, and it was Sue Ford. And she said, "Jimmy, I just want to touch back base with you." She said, "I found your MK Ultra file, and I'm just letting you know. Don't worry, it was taken to the incinerator and it was burned." So I knew that what I was moving was MK Ultra files at that point. But anyway, I didn't think much of it. And a few months pass, and I get another notice, that they wanted me to go to uh, Chester, Pennsylvania. I was going to be interviewed for a job at Sun Marine Shipbuilding, SUN Marine Shipbuilding. And when I got there for my job interview, um, there was a safe in the room. And I went ahead and they asked me a few questions. They ended up getting a job on a ship that had a like a oil drilling ship. But come to find out, this was the Hughes Glenmore Explorer. This was Howard Hughes's ship, and I had to go out into the Pacific off from Hawaii, and I raised up the K-129 submarine. It was a Russian submarine, and retrieved some stuff out of it. And when I got through with that job, I went back to Area 51. Well, it comes around about 1975, and I want to say that's when I met Michael. Um, Now, Michael is MIB, and but I want to tell you about Michael's brother, Elliot. Now, Michael had a younger brother named Elliot. Now, tonight's show or tonight's uh, X File is about a young boy named Elliot, and he encounters ET. ET phone home. Um, so I'm going to explain now a little about the family, Elliot's family and Michael's family. All right, you need to know the structure of the family before we can get into the interview tonight. You have Elliot, which is about, I say Elliot was about 8 years old at the time. Then you have Michael, his older brother. Michael's about 18 years old. Now, in the show, E.T. Phone Home, Michael's about 14. That's not very accurate about the age. Michael's really about 18 years old. And then you have the little girl, Gertrude, I mean. She's probably about 4.5, maybe about 4.5 years old. And then you have Mary, which is her mother. And Mary's probably about 27 years old, maybe 28. Uh, and then you have the father who's absent in the show. Um, and the father is he's military. He's army. Now during the show, you never see the father because um, he's going through a divorce or a separation is what, well, eventually on a divorce. He's going to divorce Elliot's and Michael's mother. Um, but originally, this takes place in not far from Nellis Air Force Base, outside of Las Vegas, about 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 20 miles outside of Las Vegas is where this takes place at. And but I want to say that Michael is is keeping a secret from his mother. Michael is really a MIB, and so is Michael's father is a MIB. Now, the mother, Michael's mother, married real young. She might have married Michael's daddy when she was like 14 years old or 15. And so she's only known two families. She knows her family and the family that she birthed. And originally, the family may have lived around Fort Bliss. That's back towards El Paso. Um, I think that's where the family's originally from. Um, but they have since moved to to Creech Air Force Base, or should I say Nellis Air Force Base. Now, Michael has gotten a a job working for a biomedical research facility. It's a clinic out in the suburbs, about 15, 20 miles outside of the town, Las Vegas. And they were researching diabetes, trying to find a cure for diabetes. So it's in a rural area, this research facility. And but the research facility is just really a cover. What they do there is Area 51 work. It's just disguised to look like a biomedical research facility for college students, but it really isn't. But when I first got on the case, I was told to report to that bio research facility. And when I got there, I went on in. I went into the room where they examined the animals. And when I went in there, is where the first time I met E.T. E.T. phone home.
Yeah, that was the Asgoians in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. James, I'm having some problems with my audio. I can't hear myself talk. Is there something I need to do?
Um, um, I hear you just fine.
But I can't hear. I might have to take my earphones off.
Okay.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me now?
yeah. I was hearing you just fine, Jimmy. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't hear myself through my own earphones. It's kind of I'm having some problems here. But anyway, um, I ended up, James, looking at this creature, and uh, what had happened. Now, I looked at his chart, and the chart stated that it was found in Arizona. Okay, well, if you go back to when Travis Walton was abducted, the Travis Walton case, um, that happened over in Arizona, kind of south to southwest of Snowflake, Arizona. And what had happened, this creature, some utility workers, it was a utility worker in that general area. And this was after the Travis Walton case that came to light a few days after it had started. And they had noticed a strange creature in the wooded area. So Area 51 ended up going over there and finding the creature and bringing it back. So when I start talking about ET phone home, and then we start talking about Travis Walton, it's really the same case. Okay, it's really the same case. Um, but what happened when Michael would go in there examine this creature? Um, what had happened was that one day I went in and I saw the creature levitate. Now I'd never seen a creature levitate without some type of anti-gravity belt. This creature could do it without an anti-gravity belt. It could levitate t- uh, by telepathic means, and and I was quite stunned by it because I had never seen one to do that without a teleportation belt. And but what had happened Michael's younger brother, Elliot, the one that the show is about tonight. Uh, Elliot had to go to the dentist, so uh, his older brother uh, took off from work and got him, and or shall I say, pick him up from the dentist's office and brought him back to the clinic. And Elliot stayed out in the car for about an hour, uh, just sitting out in the parking lot. And I'm believing what happened here is that this creature smelled Elliot's scent on his brother, Michael. Okay, some creatures have a keen sense of smell. And the way that this creature was being housed, there was a window in that examination room, but you'd have to get up on a step ladder, and you had to get up towards the ceiling, right? You if you got up about a foot from the ceiling, you could look out the wall. There was some upper sunlights in the wall there. But what had happened, I believe, this creature levitated and looked and got up on its own and was able to look out the window and probably see Elliot. Now that's what I think what happened here. So ended up when Michael got off work, he left and got in a car and drove off with Elliot. Now, apparently, what happened, this creature got out of the uh, the compound that we had it in, and I'm not sure how it got there, but it came up missing for a few days, and nobody could find it. But what happened was, if you watch the movie, Elliot goes out and he sees a creature in the shed, and he scares it, runs off, but eventually keeps coming back, and he lures it into the house. Now, um, when he got it into the house, uh, he was hiding in the house. Now, at about that time, the creature's missing, but I looked at the chart, and I contacted the men that actually went over there and found it, and they gave me the directions to the area. So I end up leaving Nevada, and I head back over to Arizona. And I got down to a place down in that forest area where it was found at. And the first night I went into the forest, I didn't see anything, um, and I stayed in there until about dawn, and then I left. And I kept coming back about 2 or 3 nights more. I would come back, but on like the second or third night that I would go into the forest there, I climbed up on a tower, and I noticed that it got real quiet uh, during the night, and I started hearing a humming noise, and I couldn't figure out where this noise was coming from, and but eventually I started seeing lights up into the forest, some spears about the size of a basketball, and these spears were floating in and out of but in and out of the tree line, and they seemed to be searching. There'd be a beam of light that had come out of the spear hitting the ground like a searchlight, and these spears were like zigzagging very slowly through the forest. And so I took my service light and I shined back on one of these spears, and the spear became aggressive, and it flew past me real fast. I could reach up and just about touch the spear, uh, but it seemed aggressive. Okay, all right. So after I realized, that apparently these spears were searching for the creature that had been lost. So once I got through my mission there, I went back to Area 51 and got to talking to Michael, about it. And but Michael kept noticing things, odd things going on around the house. Stuff was coming up missing, uh, like a clock or maybe um, a radio. But what made them started looking around in the house was they had an answer machine, and the answer machine came up missing, and so they started searching the house, and that's when they noticed, that not Michael, but Elliot wasn't telling the entire truth about what was going on, and ended up Michael started watching his brother, and before long, what had happened was Michael, well, it was Elliot faked being sick one day so he could stay home from school, and the creature got sick. Okay, and apparently it went into the bathroom and lay down on some towel where it was cool, and Elliot, I think, no, it wasn't Elliot. Elliot's mother was the one that found it, and then she called uh, Michael, and then Michael ended up getting a hold of me. But if you watch the movie, you'll see that men dressed in spacesuits entering the home, and putting Visqueen up and sealing everything off. Now that part did occur. Um, there was a bunch of neighbors around the house. We told the neighbors that it was hantavirus, that a guest in the home had gotten sick, and that we had to quarantine the home. And there was about 100 people outside the home. So the cover story was that one of the guests that were visiting the uh, the home had gotten sick, and that it was hantavirus. And but we ended up Michael took off with the creature, and we ended up chasing him all through the neighborhood with this creature, and he made it all the way back into a wooded area, and apparently a spacecraft landed, and it took the creature on board, and it left.
Just trying to get this clip to load up. Let's see here. So apparently, I'm allowed to do up to 10 seconds. Because last time we did this, I got in trouble with YouTube.
Now it shows him being like, it looks like he's 14, but that's
Well,
just
this is his brother.
that's his
Remember?
brother. That's Michael.
Well, I thought
That
Michael was the father.
well, maybe Michael's sir. Mike, I mean, Big Mike or Little Mike, but that's
All right.
Little Mike. But Little Mike's
All
about
right.
18 years old.
Okay, so here's the mother. She's like, "Oh, happy, look at this." Okay, that's all I'm gonna do before YouTube gets me. So there we go. So Jimmy, how much of this is anatomically correct?
It's pretty correct. When I got there, the creature was in the bathroom floor, and I believe because it was cool in there, he wanted to lay on it to lower his temperature down.
Okay.
Now, if you watch the ending of it, where he supposedly dies, they we put him in a metal coffin deal and started to put dry ice in it, and it cooled him down.
Okay.
But I think it revived him, is what it did. Now that part about the suit, the space suit, that's very accurate.
Oh,
I had on the suit when I entered the home, and it scared
and-
them.
okay. So Jimmy, what year did this take place? Yeah.
Uh,
You recall?
I would say 75, maybe early, either very, very late in 1975 or early 1976.
Okay. So this movie was dated 7 years after the fact. So keep in mind the type of technology at the time. But here we go. The astronauts are all surrounding the house. And did you make a huge scene in the neighborhood, as we saw in the movie? They
It,
put a bubble over the house.
there was a lot of people there, James, outside the neighbors, but we told the neighbors it was hantavirus
Okay.
that it was contagious, and we had to secure the house.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and so what clip do you want me to find now?
Well, now it shows a dog. They had a dog in the house, named Harvey. Uh,
Okay.
the
Harvey the
dog,
dog.
the dog was alone with this creature a good bit of the time. And now
Hmm.
this dog was very interestingly. Uh, I took the dog after the aliens left, and and as far as I know, this has never been noticed before, but I found the dog to have implants in it. That dog has many as a dozen implants in its body. I've always heard, I've it's always been humans that had implants, like you get abducted. I never had an animal that had an implant, but the dog had over a dozen implants in its body.
Okay, well, I can't find any specifically for Harvey, but maybe is there any other clips you want me to pull up?
Um, well, going back to the Travis Walton case now, what had happened when I first started off talking tonight? James, don't mute yourself on your end because I can't hear you. I can't hear myself speak. Are you muting yourself?
Yeah, but I just want to make
No,
sure.
no, no, don't mute yourself because I can't hear my own voice through my earphones when you do that.
Okay.
All right. Well, what happened was what was we talking about just now?
Oh, here's a great comment from Ancient Trees. Funny thing, hantavirus was said as it's all over Arizona, by the way, of mice urine and feces here.
Yeah, that was a cover story to break up the crowd that had got there. But the um getting back when I first started off on the movie tonight or the X File tonight, uh, about me handling the MK Ultra files. Well, what had happened uh, one night while this case was going on, I had a I got woke up one night at Area 51, and apparently, uh, when Sue Ford was taking these documents, these MK Ultra documents, and putting it into a computer, the computer got hacked.
Hmm.
And when it got hacked, everybody in North America, uh, their their they had a very very bad security breach. But if you work for CIA, NSA, National Security Office Administration, or the Secret Service, or Department of Defense, any of these, all these organizations, they their identities were all hacked. Okay,
By
but
whom?
well, we believe it was the Russians that hacked it. Okay, but what happened was when that happened, there wasn't but about 14 people that wasn't hacked, and it was the 14 or so that was inside the industrial park, and I was one of the 14. Okay,
Hmm.
uh, but a lot of people keep asking, well, how can Jimmy be in so many places at so many times? And that's very, and that's the reason I brought that up tonight, is that when the entire CIA goes down, there's nobody left in the United States to do any type of intelligence work. So I ended up for about 5 to 7 years with me and the other men, the other MIBs. We did all the intelligence work in North America till they could retrain, uh, you know, other CIA agents to take our place.
Hmm.
Okay, that's why people say, "Well, how can I be in so many places so many times?" Well, that answers it right there. It's because we had a very, very bad security breach, and that's why I did so much intelligence work.
Wow. Well, thank you, Jimmy, for your service.
Well, getting back onto my story tonight.
Yeah. What happened to the answering machine?
Well, the creature had gotten it and took it apart and was trying to build some type of device where he could call home. And I did find the device on a tree stump out in the wooded area. It was real crude, and he took an umbrella and he took some aluminum foil and made it like a satellite dish. Okay, pointed towards the sky, and he was able to make contact with uh, with the spacecraft that he had gotten lost from. But see, a lot of people, when you hear about the Travis Walton case, what happened was I was just so busy I could never meet up with Travis Walton. I did go over there to where he got abducted at in that wooded area, but because of the immense workload that I had on me, I did not have time to meet with Travis Walton.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us the background behind the Travis Walton story for those of us who don't know.
Well, the same spacecraft that Travis was taken on was the one that this creature came off of. Okay. And the reason I took kind of interest in the Travis Walton case was because many years earlier, about almost, I think when I was maybe like 11 or 12 years old, I also was taken aboard that craft. And the same thing that happened to Travis Walton is what happened to me. So I understand it when Travis is freaking out, and climb up underneath a table. He's freaking out. Uh, but I never was that bad off like Travis was. But but the same creatures that abducted him is where this creature came from. It was just one of the different species that was on the craft. Now, when Travis got uh, uh, electrocuted, or shall I say, when the beam of light came out and hit him and knocked him unconscious, I believe this creature had the ability to heal him.
Hmm.
There were some unusual things the creature could do. It could take a flower, it could take a dead flower and make it bloom. And of course, we were interested in the creature. We wanted to get blood samples from the creature to study it, to see what type, if it, if we could, reverse, say, diabetes or whatever.
Oh wow. So did, were you able to get the sample?
We did get blood samples from the creature. Um, and what was really startling is when the creature spoke back to Elliot. Uh, it never spoke the whole time it was in captivity, but apparently, when he was with the little girl had a toy. You know, you could pull a string and it would imitate a cow or a lamb or whatever. And the little girl had learning books uh, where she would, get at kindergarten. And so apparently, this creature was able to learn to speak. The little girl is the one that taught the creature how to speak.
Yeah, the Drew Barrymore actress.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Does anybody know what her name was in the movie?
I
Let me
think her
look it up.
name was Gertrude or Gertrude, or I'm not
Uh,
exactly sure. I'm going to use the movies' names because we don't use real names here tonight.
Gertie.
Gertie or whatever her name
Yeah, and the
was.
mother's name was Mary. So Mary and
Mary.
Michael, and then Elliot and Gertie.
Yeah.
And then who were you in the movie?
Uh,
Which actor? Or you
James. James. I don't even know if I think there's one called Ladder. I think they used that name, Ladder.
hmm.
Or I'm not really sure. I'm not really familiar with the movie that well.
Were you part of the medical unit?
Yeah, I was in the medical
Okay.
unit.
Okay.
When you look up and you see all those guys in a line and they're coming in full force, well, that's exactly how it happened.
Oh
It
wow.
was it because we don't know what kind of disease these creatures carry. Okay, we get a bunch of people get sick in that town, then we got something far worse than Ebola.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay. I'm going to take care of something real quick. But Jimmy, let's see here. As far as questions are concerned, can you tell us what they did to you when you got abducted?
you talking about
The aliens, yeah. The
if you watch Travis Walton's Fire in the Sky, that, what happened to Travis is what happened to me.
oh wow.
Except I didn't freak out like Travis did.
Okay.
But I did go uh, wake up in the cocoon in the ship, and there were dead bodies in the cocoon,
Oh wow.
decaying. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So, what were they doing to the humans?
Apparently, they were collecting the humans for study. Um, this group, this alien group, is neither friend nor foe. They came here they come here from time to time to take samples, and apparently when I had my encounter with them, uh, they brought me on board and did the exact same thing.
Okay, so were they? But in the movie, the extraterrestrials seemed kind of goofy and kind of. I mean, he seemed kind of nice to
But
Elliot
but
and Mary.
James,
Yeah.
when you take an intelligence file and it's blacked out, and you get some writer and he's looking at the blackout part, he just plugs in what he wants. I mean, he wanted it to be a friendly movie, a family movie. So he just, they make it up.
So all intents and purposes, the extraterrestrials' connection with Elliot was not necessarily as benevolent as we
Well,
assume.
well, it was friendly to Elliot. Uh, Now, Elliot's, you got to remember now, Elliot's brother is a MIB, and so is Elliot's daddy is MIB. Now, only Elliot didn't know that his brother was MIB. The only two that knew it was Michael and his daddy. Michael's a lot like his daddy, okay? Uh, and the mother is very innocent. You know, she's just trying to be a mom in 1975, 1976. Okay. And, she's separated from Michael's father and she's struggling. She's working maybe 70, 80 hours a week
Mhm.
trying to make ends meet. And when they left El Paso, which what is Fort Bliss over in Texas there,
Mhm.
and when they moved to Area 51, it was because um, she had an uncle that lived in the area. Michael's mother did, and they were supposedly supposed to watch the little girl, but they can only do so much, because Michael's uncle, he was a widow. He had lost his wife, and but the little girl needed a female, um, a caretaker. So he could only watch her so long, and then I think the neighbor was watching the little girl for a while there.
Oh wow.
Maybe an hour or two before
Oh,
another family member could show up.
do you have any information why the extraterrestrial was getting sick?
James, I'm not sure why it got sick. We gave it plasma. Okay. Uh, a lot has to do with the type of food. It probably wasn't used to our food. You know, you have to remember it's exploring. Okay. Um, they were feeding it fruit is what they were doing, but you have to remember it probably needed certain types of minerals, and it wasn't getting it here.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, as far as why was it making Elliot sick? Was it like stealing his energy?
I think it was telepathic. Apparently, he had bonded with the creature, and I think the creature could mimic human emotions. It may not have understood it all, but it was exploring the human emotions.
Hmm. Okay. All right. And so, when it returned back to its family, were did you get to meet its other extraterrestrial friends, family?
When I got there, the the craft was just taking off, and the dog was on the had gotten on the ramp to the spacecraft, and I noticed the dog was on the ramp. And then once the spacecraft left, that's when I wanted to look at the dog a little closer,
Hmm.
because I didn't understand why the dog was on the ramp of the spacecraft. And that's when I took it and x-rayed it, and that's when we found the implants into the dog.
Wow. Well, okay. What about you, Jimmy? Did they put implants in you?
Yeah, I have implants in me.
And any idea what those implants do?
I would believe that it probably records like the GPS location. Um, if you watch the movie Fire in the Sky, where Travis Walton is on the examination table, and you see a drill coming towards his face, what it's doing is it goes into your nose, and it goes into your lung, and it puts the implant into your chest area.
Hmm.
If you want to play that little clip,
Yes, yes, I'm working on it, Jimmy. Just
yeah,
um, hold on a second. Give me a moment here. Uh, Let me take care of this real quick. Make this bigger. And again, I can only do 10 seconds, so
yeah,
let's make it work. I think this is the point where they put some black goo in his mouth,
yeah,
Jimmy.
all that.
Okay, and then here's the part where they do something eyepiece.
They're putting drugs in his eyes right now.
And now again, so they're supposed to look like the extraterrestrials in the Steven Spielberg movie, right?
Well, these are pretty much what I saw right here. They're pretty accurate.
So that's what its face actually looks like.
Pretty accurate.
So Steven Spielberg got it wrong then.
Well, some of it, they're having a guess, but what I saw was a diamond come out of the machine. It's a little diamond that rotates, and little sparks come out of the diamond. And
Yeah,
you ever took a diamond and you held it under the light and you turned it and it twinkled?
yeah, sparkles. Hmm.
Yeah, well, that it was basically doing that, but it was levitating without any type of any kind of a wire
Hmm.
or an axis. It was just levitating, free levitating, turning.
Okay. All right, let's see if we can find the drill. There we go, Jimmy. Now this is not for
Now,
children, I'm sorry, but
yeah,
anyway.
now that rubber stuff over his face. Watch this.
Unfortunately, yeah, I'm gonna do 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can always watch the movie yourself. All right, get to the point here. It is a retractable needle going in the eye. Ah, and they cut it short here. Okay, Jimmy. So tell us, did they do this to you?
Pretty much, James. There's liquid that comes out the little cup into the eye, and it's some type of drug. Um,
Does it like alter what you see on the ship?
well, you just go into kind of well, if you ever did LSD, that is the closest experience I can
Hmm.
relate to it.
Yeah, I can't say I have, but thank you.
Well, maybe like acid is pretty
Oh,
good, close to it.
okay. So let's hear. We have questions from Jack. Can you ask him what the implants look like in the dog?
Like a grain of rice.
Oh wow, I have one on my ear. A grain of rice on my ear, Jimmy. Okay. All right. That was supposed to be a punchline there. Okay, so let's see here. Um, Nanos, carbon nanotubes. Okay. Here's from John Butterworth. There are other types of implants. Some are multidimensional, can be seen as a patch that's on the foot. I see little rod objects come out, little like looks like a pencil lead.
James,
Yeah.
every species has a different implant. Okay, uh, just when you think you've heard one, then another one comes along and it's different. Um, and I tell you another kind of implant is a biological implant.
Okay.
It actually lives in you. It's about
Oh
the
wow.
size of a racer head, and it's a biological implant that lives in your body.
So that's why it was Dr. Roger Lear. He was conducting surgery, and he found that these implants would move when they tried to extract them.
Yeah, some are mechanical, but some can be biological. In other
Okay.
words, you can have them in you, and the CAT scan or the X-ray won't show it because it's a tissue.
Good.
It's biological.
Well, Jimmy, I want to show you something. So I woke up with this on Sunday, and I know this is not the best pose, so for everybody out there who wanted, but yeah. So I had a blood eye, a shot red eye. So I didn't get the black eye, so I don't believe I've been vrilled. But what are your thoughts on that when they do stuff to your eye? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
And what do you think's going on?
Well, it could be a number of things, James. Just like you saw Travis when they uh, took the liquid and poured it into the eye, it could just be your eyes reacting to a chemical that is irritated it.
Well, one time I found it looked like little tiny indentions at each one of the corners of my eye, and it was like red and inflamed, and it like itched really bad, and I felt like they did something in my eyes. But anyway,
Yeah. Now, uh, if you watch the movie Predator, where they take the laser and it's like three little dots, like a triangle, three little red dots before they shoot somebody. I've had those little three little red dots on the back of my skull, um, and usually right below the ear, um, back in the back part of the skull. They like to stick needles back there into your skull, base of the skull. I can't hear you.
but that would probably help to mute myself. So I had needles going down my spine. I woke up with blood stains on my shirt. So yeah. So anyway, we can sit here and reminisce about the past, but I I feel like it should be a violation, right? Do you feel like it's a violation what they
Yeah,
did to you? Yeah.
yeah.
They treat you like
Well,
you're
it
an animal, right? But I guess that they think we're lower life forms here.
we do the same thing to them. We find them and tag them, so it goes both ways. They just simply did it before we did it, but we're doing it
All
now
right.
to them.
All right. Where's Anthony? Anthony, can you remote view the bloodshot? Anyway. All right. So let's see here. So Jimmy, let me go through my notes again. All right. You want to talk about? Did you ever get to meet any of these extraterrestrials ever again after all this? What do you think?
Well, not that particular bunch that Travis talks about a lot. Uh, they they just like I say there's some type of studying going on, and apparently Travis wandered into the area, and you know they probably just tagged them. You know what I mean? But now
Hmm.
my encounter with them came maybe when I was about 10 or 11 years old, many years earlier, before he had his experience. I really wanted, that was one of the few cases that I really regretted not being able to investigate
Hmm.
because I had personally had the same experience that Travis did, um, but I never was able to follow through on the investigation because, like I said, I got so busy, James. I was flying all over the world,
Hmm.
um, and it was like I said, it was about a dozen more of us that I was working, doing the same thing.
Okay,
And
Jimmy. Yep. And
well, you know, it, when you turn TV on and you see these shows like ET Phone Home or you see a movie Fire in the Sky, you think, well, it's just a movie. but I can assure
It's
you that,
science fiction, right, Jimmy?
yeah, I can assure you there's more to it than what you're seeing. Um, I do feel that Travis Walton should not have gone public with what happened to him because my understanding of it is, even to this day, he's shunned pretty bad. And I think he's still looking for answers.
Well, maybe we could try to set up a meeting.
That would be interesting.
Yeah,
But like I said, I've never ran into anybody else that's had that same experience that I had except Travis.
good,
But I do think Travis
good.
should not have gone public with it.
All right. Um, so David, Jamie's not the only one that can talk like this. I'm from North Carolina. Out in the country, folks, we have more of an accent, but my parents are from New York, so anyway, I'm not picking on you, Jimmy. I'm just saying that's it. By the way, the Southern drawl is actually more of a British accent if you could speed it up some. So that's why we have more of us here in the South. Okay, so Jimmy, Melissa Marie Mathison. So she was an American film and television screenwriter and activist for the Tibetan independence movement. She was best known for writing the screenplays for the films The Black Stallion and E.T. Extra-Terrestrial, 1982, which later earned her the Saturn Award for Best Writing and a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. So what's your thoughts about that? Because Hollywood is crediting this woman for coming up with the story.
Well, I think she should be credited. She's a writer. But the fact of the matter is, the outline to the story is based upon true events. She doesn't have access to all that. She she probably just started plugging in stuff.
Because the files would have been redacted, Jimmy, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, no one's going to admit that it's a true story, James. Uh, and then again, you don't know if she has a multiple personality disorder. A lot of actresses and actors have multiple personality disorder
Hmm.
that plays these shows.
So they can take on
So,
a persona.
well, look at James Cameron and Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg, uh, he channels a lot of his
Hmm.
movies. He channels those events. You see,
Wow, interesting. So they can come up, they can fill in the details of the redacted files.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So, and by the way, Steven Spielberg is 78 now, so he's just getting up there in age, like I guess everybody eventually. All
Well,
happens. But
Preston Nichols used to work for him.
really,
Yeah,
so Preston was feeding him information.
he was the
Wow,
sound engineer on a lot of the Star Wars movies.
wow, I didn't know that. Is that in any documentation?
No, well, Preston writes about it, you know,
Hmm.
but it like I said, James. When there's millions and millions and millions of dollars at stake on these films, you know, if you only make just one film, I mean, that's all you need to do is make it in life.
Hmm. That's true. Well, Jimmy, they should compensate you. You can go
Well,
to Rwanda and do your Montauk tour and all the fun things, and maybe go to the moon again, right, Jimmy?
I think a lot
Well,
of these writers are realizing now that because of AI, that they're no longer needed. You see what I'm saying? Um, in the past, they could go in and fill in the blanks and make a little money. But now, because of AI, they don't even need a writer anymore.
yeah, but it doesn't feel as real when you read AI related content. Now, if there was somebody who can channel and remote view and they come up with a script, then the AI can fill in the details. So there'll still be need for humans, I think, Jimmy.
Well, I think when you have soft disclosure, James, the government wants the government wants to prepare us for the day that this all goes mainstream, and this is just the way they do it. You know, um, this is just the way they do it. So you have some people,
Soft disclosure.
yeah, you have some people that want disclosure, and you have others that don't want disclosure.
Hmm. Have you ever met Steven Spielberg?
No, I've met James Cameron before,
Oh, okay.
but not Steven Spielberg. No.
Wow. So does that James Cameron, didn't he do like that Avatar movie?
He did Avatar, but I'm more familiar with him on Alien 1 and 2. I'm more familiar with him on that. Uh, and I knew actress Lemma Hamilton. I knew her personally because
Oh, wow.
he ended up marrying her for a while.
That was so he was on that 1986 film of Aliens, or that was a sequel.
Well, when he made the Alien film, I don't think he was with Linda then. I think he got with
Okay.
Linda.
It was Ridley
Well,
Scott.
I know he got with Linda during the what was it?
Linda Hamilton. What about
Yeah.
her?
uh, Well, I knew Linda Hamilton, but
Okay.
I know he got with her on Terminator. Now,
Yeah.
I want to say Linda, uh, when she did the movie Children of the Corn. Now that was that the little preacher boy in Children of the Corn. That was Michael Quino, Colonel
Oh, wow.
Michael Quino. Yeah,
Michael
uh,
Aquino.
yeah, Michael Quino. That's who that movie is really about.
So that was a documentary too.
Actually, yeah, but I mean, it's not. I mean, it's soft disclosure, but Michael Quino, Colonel Michael Quino, wanted, uh, that all that's about Michael Quino,
Aquino. Yeah. Wow.
Queen Quino, excuse me.
Aquino. It's all
Quino.
good. Whatever. Interesting. Wow. So, were you part of that movie too?
No, I just knew of it.
Okay.
Now, as far as the creature in the corn, yeah, I knew about the creature.
That's real.
Yeah, that was an extraterrestrial creature. We had to go out there and capture it, but that's his way of disclosure.
Oh, wow. Did you ever get to meet Michael Aquino?
Yeah. Now, tonight when me and you were talking about uh, ET phone home about Elliot's father,
Hmm.
uh, I think Elliot's father or Big Mike knew Michael Quino. I think the two knew each other because both of them are Army.
Hmm.
Michael's Elliot's father was Army intelligence, and so was
Hmm.
Michael Aquino was Army intelligence.
Oh, wow.
Both
Did they
of well, he's out of El Paso, Fort
did
Fort Bliss. I mean,
did they work with Jack Parsons? You know about Jack Parsons and
yeah,
the
I know about
uh,
Jack.
yeah.
Well, that's Preston Nichols' friend, Jack Parson.
Okay.
Now, Jack Parson used to when he made a lot of his songs, he would go to Long Island,
Hmm.
and Preston was the engineer on the sound system.
Oh, wow. Well, Jimmy, maybe we could do a whole nother show about Montauk. I know Michael came up with some new footage where they went to the it was the park ranger's house, which had a stairway to the underground facility, which is now blocked off. So maybe we could get Michael to come on here to share that footage, and then we could talk more about the relay stations.
I really would like that. I mean, that's something I can really get into, and I can confirm some stuff that he needs to know about.
Yeah.
Is he a researcher? Is my question.
Um, um, yeah. Well, we can. Well, yes. Let's let me reach out and make the contact, and we'll work it out. But so what you're seeing on Jimmy's avatar is actually the Sage Radar Tower in Montauk Point, New York, at Camp Hero, which was built in the 1940s. Jimmy, right, all across Long Island to relay microwave signals for telecommunications.
Well, the actual tower in the background that you see on my avatar, that was put in 1960.
Oh,
Uh,
the tower was built. The Sage Radar Tower.
the stage radar.
Okay.
Now there was one about 50 yards behind that one.
Hmm.
The only thing there is just the foot on the ground.
Okay.
But I think the one behind it was put in the 50s, 40s. I mean,
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, I have tons of questions, but we're gonna leave it with the Montauk for now. So, Jimmy, is there anything else you wanted to share about ET Phone Home? How about this? How's Elliot today? Is he still around?
Elliot grew up to be a MIB. Uh, he was I think we did an earlier show where when I was talking about me on the backside of Nellis Air Force Base, where he had gotten into a pond where he was swimming, and he had cramped up, and I ran and jumped in and got him out. And I think me and you were talking. I said, yeah, that was a kid that took took an ET trick or treating. I think that's when you wanted to question more about that. But yeah, that's true. He did take ET. Him and his sister took ET, and they were walking around, and they were trick or treating. People was giving ET candy and didn't realize it. But that's
And
very true.
they did levitate on the bike.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Wow. I
But
bet.
but see, that was so unique because I've never seen an ET to do it without a gravitation belt. That's the first one I've ever seen. And
Okay.
I go ahead.
Uh. Wow. So I guess nobody recognized the extraterrestrial being what they all thought it was a costume.
They didn't realize it was a real deal.
Oh my God! Wow. So on Halloween, you may very well have extraterrestrials come visit your house. You never know.
You never
You
know.
never know.
But
Go ahead.
but the you know now Elliot, I think he would be about 60 now.
Right.
And
Well, he would have been born what, like late '60s.
well, I don't know exactly, but I mean, I would say he's probably would be about 60 years old now.
So, but he was what, 8 years old in
Yeah,
1975.
yeah,
Okay, just do the mathematics on that.
or
So yeah.
76, or
Okay.
well, actually, the Walton case, Travis Walton, he didn't get abducted till I want to say
Hmm.
November of 75 is when he got abducted, if
Yeah.
I remember right.
Are those beings still abducting people out there in Arizona? Humans? Yeah.
James, I don't think it's never stopped. Uh, Actually, if you notice, every time the planets get aligned,
Hmm.
we have more abductions. So you go
Oh,
through several years, it'll be real, not a whole lot of action. But when you start looking up and you seeing these planets aligning, you see, I think it does. There's an uptick in the cases.
yeah. All right. Well, I guess I won't be go visiting Southwest of Snowflake, Arizona anytime soon. But thank you, Jimmy. All right. So people were asking in the chat, Reese's Pieces. Do the extraterrestrial like Reese's Pieces?
You mean the candy?
Yeah, the candy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was apparently they were feeding the creature candy. Some animals don't take chocolate very well, and I believe it after a while it might have been building up a little bit of toxin to the candy.
Hmm.
Um, I
Oh,
mean
well.
that's just you know one of the things that was going on.
Yeah. Well, if you ever encounter an ET in the woods, what would you feed it?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Flowers and water.
I wouldn't attempt to feed you anything. I would
Okay.
observe it.
Okay.
Uh, you know, it, a lot has to do, James, with you have to study it first. We had never ran across uh, anything like that. Now I've run across grays, but this was the body was different than a gray.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, it wasn't
All
quite
right.
a true gray.
All right. Well, I guess maybe we that's about the end of my questions. Maybe have you had telepathic communication with this being, this Algosian?
Uh, we what happened was we did make contact with that group of aliens, but it was through another group that we were talking to, and apparently it was set to be released. It just it just broke loose before
Hmm.
we could make the arrangements to get it back to its group of aliens. We were going through a third group of aliens that knew of them. Okay. Um, I don't have any telepathic connections to it. Um, I looked it in the eye, to communicate with it, but but I'm not connected to it now. Elliot is.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm. You think we
apparent.
could get Elliot on here, Jimmy?
I doubt it very seriously because they went and they changed the names and the government. You know, he's gone back into hiding, and it goes back that uh, if he was to go public, they may cut off financial support.
It's always about the money at the end of the day.
Well, see, the family was struggling financially. Now, we did go in there and gut the house, but what happened was the government did reimburse them. They got all new carpet, all new furniture. Uh, we even stripped the wallpaper off the wall. You know what I mean? The house had to be decontaminated because we don't know what type of sickness these creatures carry. And when it was in the floor in the bathroom,
Hmm.
that was our main concern that the family was infected. That's why you see us going to extremes with the spacesuits.
And were they were infected?
No, the family was not sick. Now Elliot was going through some type of a mental uh, connection to the creature. Okay, he was going through some type of mind control of the creature.
Hmm.
And when I saw the creature, it appeared to die. Now, once we sealed it up and put the dry ice into the coffin, it apparently revived it uh, because the plant. When I looked over at the plant when he died, the plant withered up,
Hmm.
and So when
Okay.
he died, the plant died.
Very good. Okay. Let's go ahead and close it down, Jimmy. Do you think it's a good point to stop?
Unless you have any more questions from
Okay.
the audience, James. How many
Uh,
are online tonight?
we have 117, so typically we usually get about 200 people on here. But I didn't advertise ahead of time. Somebody actually canceled. Lately, I've been having cancellation after cancellation, so I'm gonna have to maybe put my foot down with these people. Just don't make an appointment and cancel, and
Well,
I guess
well,
whatever.
I would imagine if something came up the last minute, a lot of times
Well,
you
this is
can't
like,
help it, But I'm glad we
oh,
had this early because we still have one coming up on um we have one coming up on Star Trek where Spock dies in the engine room. We still have that coming up. But I like to let everybody know that date ahead of time,
yeah,
and that way everybody can log in. And uh,
okay.
I enjoy taking questions from the audience there.
All right. Well, audience members, anybody have any final questions? I see somebody's asking about Eldridge. We did a whole show about the Eldridge, so go back in the channel and check that out. There's a ton of information here, and Jimmy Paine is a national treasure. He is the real Forrest Gump.
I'm
I,
not a Forrest Gump, James.
but,
That's anytime you ask somebody to go back 50 years, or in that case 60 years, you're doing good just to remember it.
all right. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you all later. I have another interview coming up tomorrow. Anyway, so that one is going to be, I think we're doing that one at maybe 1 p.m. Eastern. I got to go check my notes on that. So just want to say thank you all. And everybody, have a blessed day wherever you are. Everybody stay tuned. I've got another message from LifeWave coming up, so I think you're gonna like this. These are the energy patches. So yes, Jimmy.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to remind everybody that I'm not affiliated with James, and I am looking for a sponsor, a corporate sponsor. And if you have a company that is interested in sponsoring me, you can reach out and get a hold of James, and James can get a hold of me. Um,
You could go to healingsoulsurvivors.org and make a donation. So you're
but
our sponsor. You can
but
speak.
I'm
Okay.
not associated with healing.
Soul survivors. Yes.
I'm not affiliated with Healing Soul Survivors. I'm not here to you know uh, advocate for them. That's James's organization. All I'm saying is, if you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of James. He can get a hold of me. But just trying to make distinct here tonight.
Right. So healing soul survivors, make a donation and um, also, you could go to Neological Tech, purchase a meditation device to help you relax. You get a copy of my book of our Neological Tech. So it's about 400 pages now. And then you can go to, I've got some links in the description, some events that are coming up. I'm going to be speaking in Florida, right? So that's March 7th through 8th. Okay, that is not in the description. March 7th and 8th, the Quantum Summit, I'll update that. And then I'm going to Los Angeles in April to speak at the 5D events. And then we have our own conference coming up for Super Soldier Talk. It's called the Super Soldier Activation Conference. The tickets are on sale now. I'm going to be raising the prices, so you get the early bird. If you could get on there and take advantage of the price, I'll honor it. So go ahead and check out supersoldiercon.com for Super Soldier Activation Conference. Okay. Okay, everybody. Goodbye, Jimmy. Goodbye, audience. We'll see you all later. See ya. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, we have LifeWave brand partner Arthur Gross with us again today to discuss a fascinating product that's been making waves in the wellness and energy space in the life, and that is the LifeWave Energy Patch. Arthur, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, James. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on.
Great, thank you. So let's dive right in. Tell us exactly what is the LifeWave Energy Patch and how does it work?
The LifeWave Energy Patch is a two-patch system. It's a patch that you apply to the body, and it helps your body burn fat and turn it into energy.
Wow, that sounds incredible. So it's not like a supplement or something that enters the body.
That's correct, James. There's no drugs or anything that enters the body. Photobiomodulation is the process of light making change in the body. Much like the sun tells your body how to create vitamin D, the LifeWave patches do that with specific frequencies to bring on specific results.
That sounds fascinating. Can you share a bit about the science behind it?
Yes, there's been clinical studies done proving that the energy patch is to induce beta oxidation to burn fat and convert it into vital energy. There's more. It induces beta oxidation, increases ATP, cellular energy, engages natural energy field, improves clarity and motivation, supports physical activity, balances cognitive vitality, increases vital energy, supports metabolic function, supports homeostasis, and unblocks negative energy.
Wow, that sounds quite impressive. Can you give us an example of how we could, or how could I, or you, or someone, our listener, use one of these patches for best results?
Yes, I had a long drive from Florida to Houston, Texas last week, about a 12 to 14-hour drive. And I applied the energy patches that morning when I left Florida. And I went all the way to Houston. I didn't nod at the wheel. I didn't get tired or restless. I made it all the way to Houston. I wasn't worn out when I got there. I felt just fine. And then I wore them on the trip back and had the same result.
Great. So how would you apply them to your body?
You can use them in several places. It's a two-patch system. That's what the envelope looks like. It is a tan patch and a white patch. There we go. You put the tan patch on the left and the white patch on the right. And you just peel it and stick it to your body. Left, tan on left, white on right. And you don't even have to stick it to your skin. You could actually stick it to your clothing. Sometimes when I'm on my feet all day, I'll stick them on the bottom of my feet. There's different pressure points in the directions where you can use. Sometimes you can put them on your elbows. You can put them on your lung one, on your chest up here. And basically, wherever you put them, it's going to move the energy through your body and create more energy naturally.
Well, that's amazing. So that's part of the reason why we're doing these interviews, because that's something that I didn't even know. I just grabbed one of those yellow patches and put it on me, and I had plenty of energy. So now I'm gonna have to go use the white one new and see how it works.
It's a two-patch system, and there's 15 of each in each sleeve.
Okay, thank you. So it's like, is it a natural energy boost without the crash that comes from caffeine or energy drinks?
That's exactly it. It's causing your body to burn fat and create vital energy naturally. There are no stimulants involved. The only thing going into your body is your own light reflecting from the patch.
Wow, absolutely. So Arthur, thank you so much for joining us today. There has been a very lightning process in this conversation, and I'm sure our listeners enjoy this as well. So why don't you let's just go ahead and wrap this episode up and stay tuned for more exciting conversations optimizing your health and energy. So Arthur, any last final comments?
No, thank you very much, James. I appreciate you having me here.
All right. Until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye. please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.